Welcome back to the vlog. If you're new here, my name's Phillip. I am a landscape and nature photographer based in the Midwest. If you're not new here, welcome back, fam. I am currently in Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah, and this morning I shot sunrise at Inspiration Point, and I'm kind of in the middle of a Southwest road trip. So I was in Arches earlier, Capitol Reef earlier, I'm in Bryce now. I'll be headed to Zion here this afternoon, Grand Canyon, Monument Valley, Antelope Canyon, all that fun stuff. So if that sounds cool to you and you want to come along, hit that subscribe button. But for right now, I am headed over to the Mossy Cave trail. I'm actually in the parking lot now, just filming this little intro. And yeah, just was hanging out in Bryce last night and this morning. I'm gonna get a little hike in to kind of let my breakfast settle and go check out this little area. So yeah, let's get it going. Okay, just finished up with the Mossy Cave trail, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, I had like this nice little river that I was running through, and the reason that I wanted to do it is because I saw that there was a waterfall there. And if you don't know, I am a sucker for waterfalls. I don't really stick to rivers or lakes. I chase waterfalls. And okay, so a pretty short hike. A few people out there enjoying it, a lot of nice people, but awesome like learning experience for me. So middle blue sky day, right? Terrible conditions for photography, terrible. And so I'm trying to figure out how to make long exposures during the middle of the day. And you know, I have a concept of this, is that, you know, you ND filters, you need an ND filter to get a longer exposure, because normally you with bright sky like this, you're getting like a 500th of a second exposure, which is obviously not fast enough to do motion blur with water. So I'm like throwing on 4 stops and not getting down enough, and I'm like, all right, gotta throw on the 10 stop, but then the 10 stop was too dark, so I was having to make compromises with like my ISO to get it, because you would think that you could just make the exposure longer, right? Well, for me and my personal taste, if you were to do like a 30 seconds exposure with water, it makes the water lose all of its texture, and I personally don't like that. I usually like my long exposures for water to be like 1/8 of a second, 1/3 of a second, like a second or so at the longest. So then I came up with this idea, and I haven't even done it yet in the computer, but in my head it's gonna work, is that I'm going to focus stack an image that was shot at f4, in like I focused on the background, shot at f4, focused on the midground, shot at f4, focused on the foreground, and I'm just gonna stitch those together in Photoshop to get an image that's sharp from front to back without having to make a ridiculous compromise on my ISO, like having to go to like ISO 800 or 1000 to do it. So I was like, ISO 400, which is just gonna be fine on a crop sensor camera. You're not really gonna see a noticeable amount of noise in that. And yeah, I think that came out good. There was one shot that I got that had that was from the top of the waterfall, like above the waterfall, leading down, and that was pretty cool. And after that, kind of meandered back and went back to like the little Mossy Cave, which that was okay. I think it'd be a lot better to see it in winter, but I thought it was still pretty cool. And then after that, I'm like kind of trying to find another angle on this waterfall, and I run into this other photographer, and I'm like, oh hey, you know, I really wish you could get a shot on that waterfall. And he's like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, there's like a trail that you can obviously see that there's a trail that kind of sits along the bank of the river. And he's like, yeah, but I don't know if you're supposed to go down there. And I'm like, yeah, me neither, because this trail there was a lot of offshoots that people had made, that the National Park Service came in and put signs in that said this is not a trail. So, but luckily, and you know, both of us prefer to respect nature, which you should also do. Like, if it's not an obvious trail, don't go down it. Like, even if there isn't a sign, like more than likely a human created it and they shouldn't have. And the reason you do that is you're causing erosion, and it really does affect the plant life in the area. So stay on trail. When possible, stay on trail unless like a bear is chasing you or something. But luckily, somehow, some way, there was a park ranger in the river checking the flow of the water, and went down, politely asked her like, hey, like, explain the situation. She's like, oh no, you can go down in the riverbed. Either way, and then me and the photographer, turns out his name is Jan, he's from Germany, cool guy. We ended up like shooting this waterfall together, which is always nice to kind of like meet up and shoot with you know, a photographer who, you know, has a tripod and all that kind of stuff. So, and then we talked, and hopefully I'm gonna meet him in Monument Valley tomorrow night, or meet him at the Grand Canyon tomorrow night. So hopefully that happens, and we might meet up at Monument Valley too, but I don't know yet. But done with that. I just got gas. It's time to get on the road. I'm headed to Zion. I'm so stoked. There's clouds everywhere, and I'm hoping they make it south of Zion, because obviously it's, well, for me it's obvious, it's 12:44 in the afternoon, so the light's not great. But if these clouds come through, then you can shoot all day. So let's get to Zion. I'm stoked. I've wanted to visit this park for so long, and let's go.